the project I'm currently working on is a swimming pool. Okay, what we did, and this is something you can do yourself. We searched on Craigslist. There's other places you can search. It's people selling pools, people giving away pools at the end of the season or even the beginning of the season. So if you're looking for a swimming pool and you can find one on Craigslist, I mean, you might buy. I've seen decent pools for free. I mean, literally free. But this pool here, we paid. It's a few $1,000 pool. We paid $1,400 for it. It's a Ester Williams pool. They're high quality pool. They're probably one of the best made. So we're not submerging in the ground. We're just building the pool just above ground. But what we had to do is, you can see, it's almost a foot, maybe a little more than a foot difference in height in the grade of the property from here to this end here. So you can see I use the excavator. I had to dig the grade and get it as close to level as possible. Using a laser level to get it close. Really, the laser level is going to come into be used really when it comes to doing these the support blocks and stuff. There's these 4x8 by 16 blocks that go under the main supports. So we're going to go through the whole process of putting this whole entire pool together. And you know, right now, really, you know, when we got the pool, one thing about taking a pool apart that you get for free or buy, if you have the ability to take it down, it's worse if you get a pool that's completely disassembled, unless the people are meticulous about what goes where, or if you have the full instructions and the full part sheet. But if you don't, and you're getting a pool that's fully assembled and you're taking it apart, label every single thing. I mean, make a diagram of the pool, what posts, everything you got to do. Label every nut and bolt, put it in baggies, label the bags, whatever you got to do to mark every single piece. So you get that and you get the pool home, make it much easier to put up. So here we leveled the ground, we got the pool in pieces. This is the main support section for the side walls. Basically, we left them pretty much built because I was able to throw them on a trailer and transport it pretty easily. So they're large pieces though. This pool is a 15 by 30 oval pool with a walk around deck railing. You know, so I get this home, it's kind of ratty. You know, the paint's a little beat up. It's an older pool. I don't know exactly what the age is, but it's older. Repainted it, basically. And I used you can take that out of the video.
I didn't see it.
Tripping on my own feet. I'm getting out of the sunlight here because it's so bright and hot. Of course, like when we go to do stuff like this, it's on like the hottest day of the year. So I took and pressure washed it. If you have to wipe it down with thinner or something like that, so that way it's completely clean. But the pool was in good shape. The paint was in good shape, but I pressure washed it really well. And this stuff holds up really well. The appliance paint, it's epoxy. So you spray this on there, you're going to get quite a few years of it out in the sun. So I pressure washed it really well. I'm going about painting the side supports. We've painted everything else. So really, once this section's done, we'll be ready to just go about assembling the entire pool. So. Yeah. 24. How do you get 25? How many did we get of the other ones? What? 8? You're terrible. Alright, so we got 24 of the 2 by 8 by 16s, and we got 8 of the 4 by 8 by 16s. Let's get that. Tell you is prepare yourself. I mean, granted, there's a nice breeze and the paint's kind of flowing. The overspray is flowing in one direction. I try to make it so it flows away from me, but I took my watch off. You see I'm not really tan where my watch is at. I have a good watch and I'm not going to destroy it by covering it with paint. And I've also changed my glasses out to an old pair of glasses because this stuff will literally stick right to the lenses of your glasses. Try not to breathe the paint. We should have a dust mask or something like that to, or a paint filter. There's a nice breeze. It's flowing away from me. But even though it seems like it's flowing away from you, it'll be all over your arm. It'll be in my arm hair. This stuff sticks to everything. So be careful. Be mindful of what you're wearing, because if you're wearing something good, this stuff's going to stick to it and ruin it. So after the pressure washing and it's cleaned up and it's dried, this is what it looked like beforehand, and that's what it looks like over there after it's painted. All this has been painted and these haven't. So really the paint's very close to the factory finish. This what color is
Almond.
It? Almond color. There's white, black, almond, I think clear. But the almond color is very close to the original color of this pool, the supports. So the only really difference that you see from this to this is the shine. That's really the biggest difference. And down here is most noticeable where it actually is worn off, because this section is kind of under the ground level, the dirt, so it eats it up the most. So I'm going to get to painting, see which way the wind's blowing. And the other thing to save your finger if you're doing a lot of painting, which I forgot when I was at the store, they have that little device that clicks to this where you can squeeze it like this and paint. It really saves your finger, because after spraying a couple cans of paint, believe me, your finger starts to hurt. Used in this bag is 4 cans of paint. Really I did like a can, 2 cans, and then almost 3 cans to do this side, just to recoat it. And then over there I did the bottom with the 4th can. So I gotta go back. I bought 2 cases of this stuff, so you think it goes further than it does, and it really doesn't. It covers, but you're gonna use a whole can pretty quickly. So and like I said about protection, I don't know if you can see my arm. I gotta scrub my arm before it hardens up completely. The paint has turned my arm hair almond color. So cover yourself. Yesterday I was painting the supports. I went through 4 or 5 cans, 5 cans I think it was, of Rust-Oleum paint, and I haven't painted in a while. My fingers were killing me. I mean, literally, my fingertips are still numb from pushing down. I was using this finger for a while, and I was actually using my thumb because this finger hurt. So I went and got high tech and got one of these. So this is supposed to alleviate the pain, I think. So pretty much, I'm just going to slap it on the can. Shake the can. Pretty nifty. It's like, it goes around. I was wondering how it went on the can. Much better. So. is digging out this edge here. I've taken a bunch of measurements all the way around, and I'm about an inch or less from end to end and side to side. But this edge here was, you know, off out here a little bit because I was scooping all the dirt up and putting up here, and I was pushing it, and I didn't completely bring this edge out. So I'm about where I'm at, and I'm gonna rake it out a little bit. I don't have my helper for today or for a little while, and so I just putting some stuff on video here, what I'm doing. Just trying to get it close, and then I'm gonna lay these straps down all the way across and try and get everything approximately level where it's got to be, and then I'm gonna start bringing in the concrete blocks. This part of the video here, what I'm gonna kind of sort of show you, I've got this in place approximately where it's going to be, you know, from the outside edge all the way across. The center support brackets that go across, they get bolted together all the way along. This helps distribute the weight against the walls through the floors, keeping everything, you know, from falling outwards. This piece of I don't even know what the heck they call it, this wall channel here that goes around to the other side goes into this piece right here, this bracket. So you flex it inward, literally flex this inward because on both sides it's outward. So you flex it inward, you slide it into this bracket, and we're going to put a block under it for support in a few spots to support the walls. This piece of wall channel with, move out of the sun here, with these brackets that connect them together, they rot out. I mean, they're only a thin piece of aluminum on them, and like I said, I don't know how old this pool is exactly. It could be 30 years old, but that wall bracket, the bracket and the channel that the wall sits on for the outside here of the pool, they rot out. And that was the one thing we had to replace on this, out of the entire pool. We had to replace this, and the cost of these aren't cheap. I think it was around $300 for these pieces with the joints to connect them together. So these brackets were fine. Everything else is fine. They're real thick aluminum, but these ones aren't out here. So, you know, I mean, like I said, this is a $9,000 pool. We paid $1,400 for. We put $300 in brackets, and I don't know, another $200 in paint to repaint the pool so it looks real nice and pretty when it's done. You know, so I mean, we got some money in it, but you know, we're still getting one hell of a pool, and plus we, you know, had to purchase a new liner too. So I guess that's it for right now. Next thing I'm gonna be working on is putting these blocks, using the laser level to get the blocks in place to support the walls, and trying to bring everything close to level. Now you can assemble this pool with those little bubble levels and string line, but you know, I mean, let me pause the video for a second here. I've had this laser level for quite a few years now. It was almost $1,000 when I bought it. It's a very good level. It's good for, like, I'm gonna say it keeps 1/32nd of an inch at like 3,000 feet or something of accuracy. And I mean, you can rent these. You go to your local equipment rental place that rents excavators and all this other stuff, you know, you can rent these, and they're very easy to use. You know, this one here, you set the little bubble, the little sight bubble here, you set that, turn the power on, and it's level. So, you know, and once it's level, you walk out here to whatever you're working on, and I can be anywhere with this thing. Turn this thing on. Okay, now it's showing me that I'm below where I set my height, and I picked a spot out here on the ground, out at the end, as being my point that the whole place, the whole thing had to be set to. So it's beeping low, and when I bring it up to where it's got to be, you'll see the line up here. That means I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. So it's very easy to use. You know, you put the base where you want it, you set it, and you see where you're at. Or, you know, I can walk around pretty much anywhere in my pool. I see it's showing me I'm a little high, and I'll tilt a little bit, and you'll see I'm literally within a 1/4 inch. So pretty simple. You know, this makes your life, actually, not the world, your life much easier installing this pool. So rent one of these things. They're not too much to rent one for a day or even the week. It gets cheaper if you rent it for the week. You know, and it'll make your life easier putting this pool in. Showing a picture from back here. I got my laser level. The ground over here is just over a foot higher than where this ring is at. It goes up a foot here, or a little more than a foot, like 14 inches, something like that. And the ground over here, don't mind this mound of dirt, the ground over here is almost level. I have it just a couple inches, like 3 inches lower, for mulch, basically, because I want to hide these supports. So I mean, you know, you can see the mound of dirt behind the excavator. That all came out of here, and I actually put some dirt back in here to level it because I excavated too much out of it. But less than an inch in height difference from this is 30 feet from here to here. It's 30 feet, and it's less than an inch difference in height. So, but I'm going to have it with the concrete block, which I'm going to show here shortly. I'm going to have it literally within a 32nd of an inch from end to end, which makes a world of difference in your actual pool. If you were to put your pool on this ground and not level it, you'd have 14 inches more water on one end than the other. It would look ridiculous if it didn't collapse your pool. So I mean, it's really crucial in construction of your pool to get as level as possible. I mean, 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, even a 1/2 inch off from one end to the other is not a big deal. You'd like to be as accurate as close as possible to the actual height of level, from end to end and side to side. So I mean, from my pool's 15 feet wide by 30 feet end to end, and it's literally less than an inch or even less than a 1/2 inch from end to end. So next is putting in these concrete block. So my so my helper Nicholas is in control of the camera today for a little bit. What I did is I started with the lowest spot that I could visually see. There was a gap underneath this post, so I leveled the ground. I put the flat 2x4 or 2x8x16 block underneath of here. So now that the block is here, you come up this way, Nicholas. All right, can you see that? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring, I want this height of this block to be the same height all the way around this pool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a laser level and I'm going to creep it up. See where it's switched? I don't know if you can see that. All right, so now I'll tighten this down. Now we're locked in very close to where I want to be, within, what are you zooming on it now?
Yeah.
All right, we're locked into the height we want to be. I'll zoom back out. So now we go over to the next block, and we're actually right on the money for the height. Very close, within you know, a 32nd to 16th of an inch.
Can't zoom out. Okay, I got it.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Okay, you got the zoom. And I can go around exactly the same height. I can keep hitting them. They're all right on the money. Literally within 1/32 of an inch, which is overkill. But now when I get here, I'm a smidge low on this one. But when I get here on these, all right, this end is a little lower than it should be, and you know, going around with an excavator, it's not going to be perfect, and you're going to get as close as you can really get it. You know, there'll be a lot of hand shoveling, hand raking. You know, you don't have a whole crew of guys. It's just me and my wife behind the camera. You know, you're doing this by yourself, so it's going to take some effort and work to do it. You know, and I'm going to have to backfill a load of this. And one of the things it says in the instructions, oh, and yeah, my son's pointing at himself. He's okay.
He helped a lot too.
He's a good little helper too. One of the things it says in the instructions is you should always try and make it the same height all the way around and not backfill. So they want you to take down all the high spots. Well, I mean, you look at this ground's pretty close to level, within an inch or so. And they don't want you to backfill just because the weight of the water is going to make the ground sink. And here, I mean, we've had a few days rain on this and the ground's packing itself naturally, but I'm still going to have to backfill. And you can kind of see here the height difference is almost, you know, it's about an inch. And this from here to here is exactly level, to here is exactly level. And I keep going around to my blocks, my cement blocks, level, level, all the way around. These are all identical heights. This floor, level, exactly where it's supposed to be, all the way along. They're all exactly the same level measurement. You know, they're literally there for it's literally within 1/32 of an inch, maybe 1/16 of an inch. Close. Oh, you're standing in the way of the
Oh.
you're standing in the way of the laser beam. So all this stuff all the way around is exactly where it's got to be, all the way out to this edge being the same height level. So I do have to do a little backfilling, but when it comes to backfilling though, they say don't do it, but you can't get away from it. So I'm going to have to backfill and hand tamp. So I literally, you know, I'm putting dirt in here. Let me pause the video. When I say backfilling, you know, this is a support structure for the wall, but the wall still sits on this rib here. So I have to backfill under this rib, and I mean this pool is going to be exactly level from end to end. So really, this is all you got to do. Just fill in some. I got to do this to the whole area here to bring it up to level, and then I got to go along and hand tamp it. A lot of work, but that'll be just as solid as the rest of the ground once I get this all in and hand tamped. Now, granted, I'm going to bring this up to level, take that rib, that line out of here, and I'm going to hand tamp that area all the way around. So I make sure it's got as much strength as it possibly can have under that wall without actually being a support block. So got a lot of work ahead of me. I was explaining, you know, basically everything is level all the way around to the same exact height within a 32nd of an inch or something like that. So what I had to do though in this section here, if you want to pan down, this whole section here, you know, it's a, you know, inch or so different in height and going this way. But what I had to do is, you know, all this is up to level, and this thing here tapered down with the ground. So what I am having to do was lift it, put a block under it to hold it up, shovel some dirt in underneath, rake it to a height, literally jump along to pack it in all the way along, because it doesn't have to be perfect going along this, because there's going to be 2 inches of sand going over top of this whole thing. So, but I wanted to get it as close to level because it does affect where these are at along the wall edge. So once the water pressure is going out against it, it's going to push it right to where it's got to be. But you kind of want the bottom here to be structurally where it's got to be level, or whatever you want to call it. So this basically, I lifted this whole thing up though, and literally went along and shoved dirt under. So once it was all under there, packed it down, stomped on it, jumped on it, you know, got it to where it was. I checked the height. I had to go back, shove a little more dirt underneath of it in some areas where it was a little low. So it's perfectly where it's got to be for this side. The other side now, we turn around and go look at the other side. This side here is extremely close to where it's got to be, except for down here. Down here, it's probably all along, it's really good to about there, and it loses some height on this end. So I'm going to pack a little under this end and a tiny bit over there.